in 2020, Tom Brady's new team or his old team. I have a poll up on my Twitter feed, so that's at ESPN Greeny, and I have an hour left for it to be open. And as you can see right now, almost 62% of the vote is going towards his new team, the Buccaneers. You can log on to Twitter. Again, it's at ESPN Greeny, and we'll update that as we continue. We'll give you the final results. I set it to finish right at the end of our show. And we are in a very busy time in the world of sports, and delighted that you've chosen to get up with us here. We're going to bring you all of the news as best we possibly can, coming to you as always live from above the Heineken River Deck at Pier 17, and this is the menu for our second hour today. It's time to get up with Tampa Tom Brady to the Bucs. Are they now the team to beat in the NFC? That answer may surprise you. Plus, the Panthers, they say hello and goodbye to big-name quarterbacks on the same day. Did they make the right choice? And where does Cam Newton go from here? And then, who are the biggest winners and losers of free agency so far? Spoiler alert, the very biggest winner isn't actually very big. All that and more as we get up with you starting right now. And only one place to begin. Tom Brady appears on his way to Tampa Bay. Shefty and Jeff Darlington reporting last night. The Bucs expected to land the six-time Super Bowl champ. To this point, there's no signing date, no official announcement has been set up, but it appears to be a formality, and it is all on its way. In fact, Shefty, let's just have you quickly clear all of that up. I saw your tweet from this morning. Just for those who were just joining us here, what is the very latest as far as getting that deal finalized?
Well, Greeny, here's where the two sides are. They are still continuing to finalize the language in that contract. It is not expected to be any sort of issue or any sort of hang-up, but until they finalize that language, then Tom Brady can't make the announcement that he is expected to, which is that he is going to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. But nothing's going to stop that. This is a process that has been in motion really since the negotiating period opened on Monday at noon, where Tampa stepped out front, made immediate contact with Tom Brady, and began the preparations to try to get him in there. And I think Tom Brady has been mulling his options for weeks now. He knew the day would be coming where yesterday he made the official announcement that he was moving on from the New England Patriots, going his own way and taking his talents elsewhere. And again, I think everybody could see this coming. It's still hard to wrap your mind around the fact that somebody who's been such a fixture in Foxborough for 20 years, has won 6 Super Bowls and 4 Super Bowl MVPs and 3 NFL MVPs, and has done all that he has, would actually leave a place that he is so closely associated to. But he found a place in Tampa with a head coach that has brought out the best in quarterbacks like Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck and Ben Roethlisberger and Carson Palmer, that being Bruce Arians, the Buccaneers head coach. And obviously the Buccaneers have a stable of offensive weapons, including wide receiver Mike Evans and wide receiver Chris Godwin. And when you just look at it, as you pointed out, Greeny, this was a competitive team last year that lost 7 games by less than 1 score. And in those 7 games, I believe Jameis Winston had 18 turnovers. So I think the Buccaneers figure that if Tom Brady can basically control the game, manage the football, not turn over the football, and play like Tom Brady, frankly, then the Buccaneers could be on their way back to the playoffs for the first time since 2007, which would end the second longest playoff drought in all of football.
Yeah, we mentioned Jeff Garcia was their starting quarterback the last time they played in a playoff game. Jeff Darlington, I want to come to you because both you guys have been telling us on this show and saying elsewhere that this was what you expected to happen. What we didn't really know is exactly how the process would unfold. Jeff, what do we know now about exactly how the process unfolded for Brady?
Well, we can start with Tom Brady several weeks ago, in fact, months ago, to be honest, when he started casting a very wide net to sort of survey the NFL landscape. He could do that without actually getting to the point where he needed to talk to teams. All along, though, I'd been being told that it was going to be a situation where it would be clear and concise. It wasn't going to be a, quote, Peyton Manning-like free agency tour, and that's exactly the way it unfolded. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, the Tampa Bay Bucs in mid-February were one of the few teams to actually recognize through back channels that Brady was serious about entering free agency. Something that a lot of teams were kind of just saying, he'll go back to New England, probably just trying to leverage some other people. The Bucs looked at it and said, wait a second. We have the makeup, we have the ingredients, we have basically everything that's right to offer Tom Brady. They recognized he was serious, and then this week, They were ready to pounce, and that is how a marriage shaked out.
Look, both you guys were 100% right on this thing from the beginning. Well done. Thank you both, and we will certainly stay close because it's a busy day, even with the Brady news here. The new league year actually starts this afternoon. And meanwhile, the folks are excited in Tampa, and for good reason. As of 24 hours ago, the Buccaneers' odds to win the whole thing was 40-1. Now with Brady coming to town, they've practically dropped in half, 22-1. And I will also remind everyone, no team has ever won the Super Bowl in their own city. This year, the Super Bowl will be hosted by Tampa. And so here are our guys, Dan Orlovsky and Marcus Spears. And I think the most important thing we can talk about here, Dan, particularly for those just joining us, is the specific fit. Because while Bruce Arians is known to be a guy who works well with quarterbacks, the offense we have typically seen from him is not the one that Tom Brady's not similar in any way to what Tom Brady has done that has made him the greatest quarterback of all time. What do you expect the offense to look like next year?
Yeah, this would be scheme-wise an outstanding fit for Tom Brady. I want to dispel some rumors about Bruce Arians as a play caller and a coach. First of all, this is not going to be Bruce Arians acting like June Jones, where they're just going to put 5 offensive linemen in front of Tom Brady and it's going to be a chuck and duck situation. Something that Bruce Arians really likes to do is hardball play action pass. What I mean by that is downhill play. Maybe necessarily what we see out of the 49ers or the Vikings where it's that wide stretch stuff. It's going to be downhill play action pass and then intermediate routes, 10, 15, 20-yard throws, which Tom Brady's arm is plenty strong enough to still operate. Now, that's also something that Tom Brady really started to do a bunch the back end of his career in New England was the hardball play action stuff, had a great level of comfort with it. So this is not going to be an offense that we just see Tom Brady dropping back 7 steps and getting hit 30 times a game and everyone going, I told you so. Bruce Arians is going to sit down, figure out what Brady really likes to do, what he doesn't like to do, and understand, okay, I'm going to put him in tons of positions to play successful football. Also, this offensive line is going to be helped out as well. Marcus Spears has touched on it. Marcus, you've talked about it. Like, Brady's going to get the ball out of his hands really well, something Jameis doesn't do. And so this scheme-wise is a really, really good fit, contrary to what some people think, for Tom Brady and Bruce Arians.
Go ahead, Swaggo.
Jay, I think from when you look at everything, for me, this is the psychology part of it when you talk about Bruce Arians. Let's go back a couple years when Bruce Arians left football after having a successful run with the Arizona Cardinals and then got back into football. Could it come to any better of a head than to get Tom Brady in Tampa and have the ability to win your division and possibly go to a Super Bowl with the greatest quarterback of all time? I think about this whole maturation process that both of these. We talked about Brady in New England, obviously the relationship and him wanting to test free agency. Both of these guys have a lot of stock in the game. That's why I 100% agree with what Dan just said. The working relationship between Bruce Arians and Tom Brady with where they are in their careers could be one of the most beautiful things we've seen in the NFL in a long time, coupled with the talent. And I also can't help but talk about the other side of the football. This reminds me so much of what Peyton Manning experienced when he went to Denver. It was DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller. It's JPP and Shaq Barrett. It's a young middle linebacker and Devin White that can get it done. Secondary that can play. This team can be dominant. They were a quarterback away from making great decisions for having a chance to win their division. And might I remind people, before we start, it's going to be difficult. The Saints are going to be good, Sean Payton and Drew Brees. But before we start going there, let's remember Kirk Cousins went to New Orleans and beat the Saints in the playoffs. And now you telling me you going to give me Tom Brady with Mike Evans and O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate? Listen, this is crazy. I was on the Chargers, but the more and more I think about it, the more and more I hear Dan talk about this fit in Tampa. It could not get any better for Bruce Arians and Tom Brady, man. This is a match made in heaven for sure.
I agree. Hey, very quickly, Dan, and we'll have more time to talk about this, but if Bill Belichick were to call you today, and I will grant you it's unlikely, but if he were to call you and say, hey, what do you think I should do at quarterback going forward, what would you tell him?
Pick up the phone call and call Chris Ballard in Indianapolis and try to get Jacoby Brissett back to come back to New England. That's your best option. I think Jacoby Brissett is a starting quarterback in the NFL, and I think you can get him for a good price right now out of Indy.
Yeah, that feels like an interesting choice. How about you, Swagoo? The Patriots going forward without Tom Brady, first time in a generation they need a quarterback. What's their best bet?
For the sake of being different, I think you call Andy Dalton. Try to see if you can get Andy Dalton out of Cincinnati. They're about to draft the quarterback Joe Burrow first overall. Andy Dalton is probably looking for a fresh start. Been around this league a long time and has had some success. Andy Dalton could be a play there too.
Terrific, guys. Thank you both. Stay close. We have much more football to get to as this hour continues. But as you are most likely aware, there was another huge story that was indirectly from the world of sports yesterday. And obviously with what we're all dealing with, Kevin Durant is one of 4 Brooklyn Nets players who have tested positive for the coronavirus. The Nets said that one of the 4 players is exhibiting symptoms. The other 3 are asymptomatic. Durant told The Athletic that he is feeling fine and urged people to be careful. And here is our friend Jay Williams, who was very close with Kevin Durant as well. What was your reaction, Jay Will, when you heard that KD tested positive for the coronavirus?
Greeny, I found out while I was doing a podcast yesterday, and Monday afternoon, late afternoon, myself, KD, and Rich were all on the phone discussing what our content strategy was going to be, and what Kevin's stances were and different things, and what we were actually going to talk about as far as breaking down players. And he felt fine. He seemed fine. Everything was okay. He was back in New York City. Everything was great. And same with Rich and same with myself. So as you can imagine, yesterday everybody was just pretty much shocked at the news, and everybody kind of went their own different ways. Obviously, Rich worried about his family, Kevin worried about himself, and we all haven't gotten a chance to get on the phone yet. But I'm just glad that he's okay. I mean, this thing is affecting anybody and everybody. Greeny, nobody is immune to this, so I'm just glad he's okay. But as of 2 days ago, everything was completely fine, Greeny. Everything was normal as usual.
And again, he's told the Athletic that he is at this point asymptomatic. At least that was of yesterday. I'd just be curious, Jay, because you talk to so many people around the league, and it's a strange time for the NBA, to say the very least, as they are sitting and waiting to see what happens next. Just what sorts of conversations are you hearing from NBA players and others around the league about the situation right now?
Uncertainty, Greeny. Guys have no idea what to do. Guys want to go back to the practice facility. They have hopes that they can have a season this year. They want to continue to train, keep their bodies in alignment. But then you can't do that because you have lack of resources. Now, they can still do that on their own. But when you make yourself available to other people, trainers, basketball trainers, staff, and company, then potentially you can get yourself, or you can contract the virus. So guys are extremely wary of who they surround themselves with. And, just like everybody else, people are staying quarantined. These guys are staying at home, staying with their families, very unsure of where to go, how to train, how to work out. And everything is just up in limbo right now. I know we have hopes of having an NBA season, but the more and more we continue down this path, my man, it does not look like that's going to be the case.
Yeah, Woj said earlier today, a lot of owners are looking for some sort of clarity, and right now that is just not available. Jay, Will, thank you so much. Stay safe, my friend, and we will check in with you as we continue. We're just getting rolling in this hour of Get Up. There's a lot of sports news out there. Now that Tom Brady is the Bucs quarterback, what happens to Jameis Winston? Who should bring him in, and will he be a starter? We'll answer those questions. And then the Brady news took center stage yesterday, but Dak still has not got his long-term deal. How's Cowboy Nation feeling about that? Michael Irvin will join us with that. It's Get Up on ESPN.